Hello and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. My name is Spanj, and today I'm going to be messing around in Reforged Galaxy. If you don't know what Reforged Galaxy is, I did a little video on this a little while ago, and you could click on the little exclamation-y thing that's floating around in the top right corner now and go and have a quick watch of that video if you like. But in a nutshell, Reforged Galaxy is a total change of the game. All the settings and configurations have been changed. There are even new weapons, new enemies, new sound effects, and everything just changed in the game. According to the author's desires, basically, Vermillion has spent a lot of time creating Reforged Galaxy in the sort of vision for Empyrion that he had, and it is quite different from the vanilla game. The difficulty is ramped up to 11. Let's just say that, shall we? It's Empyrion, but super extreme hardcore mode. So what I'm going to do today, like I said, is going to mess around in Reforged Galaxy for a little bit. In one of the scenarios that you can download from the workshop is Reforged Creative Studio, okay? So we've obviously got Reforged Galaxy. There is also Reforged Eden, which is a merge of Reforged Galaxy and Project Eden, which is definitely worth a look into, especially if you are a sort of veteran of the game. If you're kind of new to the game, I'd probably avoid this for a while and just get used to the base game before you start exploring Reforged Galaxy in any way. Now, Reforged, I want to see, because the building is different in Reforged Galaxy, so much so that most of your builds, like mine, will not work. Let's jump in and have a look what I mean. Okay, so here we go. We are in Reforged Galaxy. One of the first things you might notice is that there's a bunch of new stuff. Look at the stack sizes here, for example. There's also, if you have a look in the item menu, you'll just start seeing different things popping up, like medical injector. It's just random stuff. Epic advanced boosts for your armor and stuff like that. You can just have a quick look around and just like go, what on earth? Oxygen extractor. So a lot of sort of older kind of assets and stuff that are no longer used in the original game have actually made a return within Reforged Galaxy, because Vermillion has used them for sometimes other things, or sometimes the same thing that they were originally used for. But yeah, there's a few new bits and bobs dotting around to check out in Reforged. So just maybe get used to the sort of new surroundings a little bit. Most of it is the same, but what you will find is, like I said, all the building stuff is different. So CPU, all the calculations of CPU are now different. None of the blocks take up CPU, so you could use as many blocks as you like. It will not consume CPU. But he has recalculated the CPU values of all things like thrusters and generators and fuel tanks, and everything is completely different from the original game. So you have to kind of like relearn from scratch how to build something within CPU. And so that's the kind of challenge, really, because he's kind of modified it in such a way to make it more challenging and to kind of force you to change how you think about going around building. And what I want to do today, what I want to achieve in this video, is to build a new little starter SV. So a very basic SV for us to get started and start moving around within Reforged Galaxy. Now, I don't think that's too much of a challenge. The main challenge will come when we start to build a CV. But let's start small. This is the first time I've built for Reforged, so I don't want to try and run before I can walk, as it were. Let's start with a basic small SV, see the impacts and changes for ourselves straight away. SV, sorry. So, first of all, one of the most important things in Reforged, especially in the creative scenario, is CPU and weights and volumes. You want to enable both of those. So as of 1.2, Elion actually added a new command in there. If you do help GOPT, you can actually enable weights and volumes and CPU within a creative mode. If you then type just GOPT, it will give you all of the game options there. So as you can see in the instructions here, it's GOPT set, the parameter name, and the value. So here we've got enable volume weight. What you want to do then is type GOPT set, then the thing that you want to change, the parameter, enable volume weight in this case, and then the value you want to change it to, in this case true. So we do that, we'll set volume and weights to on, and then we want to do the same thing for CPU. So that is GOPT set enable CPU points true. You can then do GOPT ND, and it will show you any settings that are not set to their default value. So we should be able to now see enable CPU points is true and enable volume weights is true. So that is how you enable volume and weights and CPU in creative mode, especially important for Reforged Galaxy. Now, there is a slightly easier way of doing this. If you just start a normal survival mode game of Reforged Galaxy or Reforged Eden, and then in the console type CM for change mode, it will switch that game from survival to creative mode, and you will have all the same tools that you have in creative mode, which is, in my opinion, a simpler way than hammering through those commands. But there we go. I just wanted to let you guys know that GOPT is now available to you to enable and disable various aspects of creative mode. Anyway, enough going on about that. Well, I hope that's useful to some of you. Anyway, let's get on with building an SV, shall we? So I've never built in Reforged Eden before, so I am fully expecting to be completely and utterly taken by surprise when it comes to trying to build a starter SV. Certain things might not work, but we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best anyway. Let's grab all the usual stuff that we would need. Now, a starter thing, I want to probably go for tier 1. I'm going to use the tier 1 generators and fuel tanks. Small thrusters, although I would like some mediums in there somewhere, and we'll cram the rest of that stuff in later once we actually get started with this. Right, I'm going to build out onto this area here. Normally I would go up into space for this sort of thing, but you know, whatever. We're going to do, what have we got to play with? We got 6,000 CPU points, which is no different from the vanilla values, I think, isn't it? 6,000. So a standard SV approach. Okay, I just sort of build a block up here just to raise it off the ground. If you're in space, obviously you don't need to do that. Now, I've built starter SVs before. I've built a few. I have my favorite cockpits. I usually go for either that one. I think going for that one is quite industrial. I think that you'd use cockpit 8 for something a little bit more bigger and stuff. That one's quite good because it's quite low profile, but it is very long. And then that one, yeah, okay, we could use the actually, I don't know, actually, maybe we should. I usually avoid this one because it is only 2 blocks wide, and then you get symmetry fun. But do you know what? I think, you know, I just had a little mind wave of, hey, why don't we build one like this in my head? So let's freeze time because the sun's going to go down. That's going to annoy me. Okay, that's just in escape. You've got the debug menu up here, debug options. You can set the global time and you can set the speed of time. I set the speed of time to 0 and the planet stops rotating. Symmetry mode in N menu, and then click in the middle of that block there, and we've got ourselves symmetry. I'm not going to mess around with any asymmetrical stuff here. I'm just going to try my best to actually get something in and working to some degree. Right, so we've got our long snout nose kind of SV here. And now, just through looking through kind of chatter on my Discord and other places, I know that Reforged uses the lift mechanics quite a lot, or it encourages the use of lift mechanics quite a lot. So I'm going to put some wings on this. I'm going to make it a little kind of jet fightery type thing. Perhaps first of all we should put in our generator. It's going to slap 2 in there, but I actually only want 1, and this is the problem with this sort of thing, is this kind of build, because it is so asymmetrical anyway. We get silly things like that. So detector, Wi-Fi. I'm not sure detector is a good idea, but we'll try and squeeze it in. Let's pop it in there. Wi-Fi as well, very useful. So we got a sort of 4 block kind of thing going on there. What level? Because level 5 I think is sensible. So let's get an ammo controller and some extensions in here. And this thing is going to explode. If somebody even looks at it funny, it will explode. I realize that, but it's fine. because it's just it's a starter SV. It's nothing fancy. I don't really mind that certain blocks are not spread out, as it were. So we're going to give it a little bit of ammunition capacity, and I'm going to try and blend as best as I can from the front cockpit there, like that. There we go. I could probably turn symmetry back on now that I've placed those blocks. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's our sort of internals. We got a generator. We haven't got a fuel tank yet because I wanted to put them outside somewhere else. Maybe I will put some block spacing between the fuel tanks here and everything else. So just a couple of little ones. There we go. Fuel tanks. Right. Oh, I put these silly blocks in. There we go. So there's our sort of internals. We've got generator, the core, detector, Wi-Fi, some ammo capacity, and some fuel tanks. And that's pretty much it for a starter SV. We might be able to fit a fridge on this later, but I mean, initially I'm just gonna go with sort of, you know, the usual GATs and stuff. But one thing you'll notice fairly quickly, I think, when building in Reforged, is that you can have plasma turrets on your SVs. They've got 2000 CPU on them, mind. If I put 2 of those on there, then I've used 2/3 of my CPU allocation. Pulse laser turrets as well. Type A laser charge. Look at that. That uses 1400 CPU. So you can have laser turrets, plasma turrets, Gatling turrets. I mean, you can have Gatling turrets now anyway. You've got bomb launchers. A heavy bomb launcher used for dropping ballistic bombs onto a target. Warning. The bomb bay is easily damaged and will detonate all ammunition. Oh my god. I don't even want to know. The usual stuff, the guided missiles, plasma cannons, laser cannons, railguns, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, bomb launchers. Wow. Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll add some of them on later and have a little play around with them. Anyway, I think, you know, that's the main thing. I mean, we've got... What is that giving us? 908 CPU. So we're doing very well so far. We haven't added any thrusters to this though. So let's go ahead and slap a couple of thrusters on. I'm going to assume as well that Vermillion is kind of strict about thruster placement as well as all the other stuff, you know. Like the CPU points and whatnot. He's strict about the CPU points. He's strict about thruster placement, weight, and stuff. So okay, I do want something rather sleek and lovely. Okay, I'm probably going to just spread that wing out a little bit more to the sides. Now the problem with doing this sort of thing is it makes it quite wide, and now on vanilla that means that it makes it quite sluggish in some ways. Or it can do, at least anyway. So we have to be careful. I'm going to put a thruster in, reverse thrust there. We're going to put sideways thrust on the underside here, set them back. I don't know what I'm doing at the moment. That's not already obvious. So we're going to have two in either direction. I might move that one back a bit actually further. You've got to try and spread these out a little bit, you know. You've got to try and spread them out in order to get as much torque as possible from them. Okay, so we put them on the bottom there, so the wing is above, and then we'll put the Gatlings down the side of the cockpit kind of thing. We need lifting thrusters, and this is the other thing I'm not so sure on. Do we actually need lifting thrusters? Or is that something else that is just unnecessary, you know? I don't know. We're going to put some lifting. We're going to put 4 lifting thrusters there. And we're going to put the equivalent downs in the same place. There we go. Now, I would like those a little bit further out. They would get more torque. But there, I think they will have to do. Right, so just with all those thrusters there, that gives us 2,500. So we're well within. I don't know why it's still saying CPU tiers are locked. Does that mean that we don't have, because we haven't added any extensions in? I don't know. This is all new to me. Don't know what I'm doing. I'm sure if Vermillion is watching this video, he's probably just going facepalm Oh, Spanj, what are you doing? I don't think it's too different at this level. I don't think it's too different from building like normally. But we're going to go with a couple of GATs. That's going to allow us to sort of take out drones. It won't allow us to take on POIs in Reforged, but we should be able to annihilate some drones with that. We're going to have a bit of frontal sort of armor as well. As in steel blocks. That's our frontal armor. Woohoo! Yeah, okay. So I think we've pretty much got everything. Hello. I think we've got pretty much everything we need now on the ship in order to qualify it as a kind of starter vessel. Now it's kind of a case of building up some blocks in order to apply shape, I guess, and make it look nice. So and the only other thing, maybe let's have a quick check. We're avoiding CPU at the moment. We've got a built-in cockpit. The only other thing maybe is a couple of O2 tanks so that we can actually have oxygen in our cockpit. Why have I got 2 light shield generator and heavy shield generator? Look at that. I didn't notice that before as well. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I might pop maybe a spotlight or 2 is useful sometimes. I'm going to use the ammo boxes cargo. I'm not going to use standard cargo boxes. We want a fridge. If we can get one. Small CPU extender. Quantum CPU extenders. What? What? 6,000 CPU output. Nice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Right. And oh look, you can have the trauma station for SVs as well. That's awesome. This is totally cool. I think that's probably it. I don't think maybe some landing gears. That'll do. That'll do. Right, we don't need the cockpit, the guns anymore. The thrusters, I think we're done. So, small O2. See if we can squeeze a fridge on there. Landing gears. And that's it. Okay. The bottom of this ship is going to be quite vulnerable. But it'll work all the same. It'll be fine. Honestly. It'll be fine. Famous last words. And well, there we have it. Okay, so we've just... I mean, I haven't done much more than what I just did before. I did some spotlights here. And then the rest of this is all just shaping. Although I did expand the ammo boxes a little bit more. But yeah, it's all just blocks. All just blocks. Managed to squeeze a single cargo box back there. And a mini fridge. I figure you could probably take the cargo box out for an O2 station and then maybe put an armor locker back there or something as well. But there we go. That's my start a little SV within Reforged Galaxy. 4,250 CPU. Pitch 53, roll 29, yaw 24. Roll and yaw are pretty slow. Pretty diabolical, but I think, given that we've got a little bit of CPU left over, we've got 1,750. What can we have for 1,750? Can we have a GAT turret? We can. We can totally add a GAT turret to this thing. Let's see if we can squeeze one of those on there. What else have we got available? What about the bombs? Rocket launchers, CPU 1400. We can have a single rocket launcher. 2,850. Can't have a bomb launcher, unfortunately, on a tier 1 SV. I guess you might be able to squeeze one of those on there if you were just using forward thrust and you were using the weight, the aerodynamic lift mechanics. So it basically was just flew forwards on wings. I suppose you could have the bomber on a tier 1 then. But yeah, no shields. A fair bit of ammo capacity, actually, if we go inside. 2,969. I mean, we're doubling the ammo and storage here, so that should be okay. What we can do now, of course, is test the weight. So if we grab some combat steel blocks here, which have been opened for SVs as well, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. But we've got a bunch of combat steel here. It's just going to fill up that cargo space reasonably quickly. I think that's pretty much close enough. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we've got 45 tons of weight on board. Weights and volumes is switched on, remember? So let's grab some fuel. We've already got some fuel because this scenario already gives you some. So we got some O2 fuel. 15 mil rounds I'm not going to put in just yet because we're just going to test the weight of this thing, which can actually, it seems, hold 45 tons. It's holding. It's holding. Look at that. On just the down thrust. The lift thrust is able to lift that much. 45 tons. It's not bad, actually. Generators are overheating, though. Look at that. And that's the difference. That is the difference. Now, it's normally, I would expect a single one of those little small generators to fly this thing absolutely no problem. But I wonder if the changes made by Vermillion are not allowing us this time to be quite so cavalier with our generators. Just that one little generator in there is all we've got. Let's see about adding, look at this thing, advanced small generator. Wow, this is cool. Okay, this is definitely cool. Let's take you out and pop a normal sized one in here. Flip that round that way, and then we just need somewhere to put the Wi-Fi again, which I'm quite happy to put over the landing gear, but I think there is a better place we could probably put it. So that is the landing gear. That's also the landing gear. We'll probably put it. There's actually not that much. There's not actually that much places to play with that are not covered by armor, so I think it probably is going to have to go above the landing gear there, which is fine. We'll just seal that off. It's only Wi-Fi, it's not like it's hugely important. Okay, so now we've got a bigger generator. That should fly absolutely fine. Again, the yaw, the roll and stuff is sluggish because of these wings, but that gives us a huge amount more lift than if we didn't have the wings. That was interesting. It's like it fell out of the sky all of a sudden. And it flies okay. It flies okay, especially for something that's like just going to get you around early game. Possibly take out some drones. We are just falling out of the sky on tight turns, but it's interesting because we can hold ourselves there, but turning like that. And there we go. We seem to be okay now. I don't know what's going on. It's like falling out of the sky and then it's fine. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Yeah, it's alright. It flies, ladies and gents. My first Reforged Eden bird, granted T1 SV, works fine. Love that. Even lands on its little landing gears. Dead center. Perfectly level. Love that. It's not bad. Now, obviously, it's difficult to... We're only in the creative session here, so it's difficult to give it a full seal of approval without actually flying it around in Reforged Eden's Reforged Galaxy's actual survival mode and seeing how it actually holds up against some drones. So I'm not going to apply any texture or anything to it at this stage. But what I am going to do now is actually start up Reforged Eden. And we're going to spawn it in. We're going to cheat a lot. We're going to spawn it in very early on, and we're going to try and hunt some drones with it, see how she handles that. Okay, so here we are on Oscartoon. I am in God mode. Let's enable spawn blueprints and the item menu here. Quickly grab our new SV, which I called the Flash Reforged. Okay. No texture yet. I will do that if this works. I'm not texturing it before I know if it works or not. Let's grab a bunch of fuel, some 15 mils. There we are. We don't need oxygen. Let's say fuel in. It goes 15 mil. How many can we have? Quite a lot. 4,000. That'll keep us going for a little while. Now, I haven't attached the turret yet. I will do. First of all, let's get airborne. Now, I've used the map command, so I know roughly where things are and what I'm looking for, but We've got a epsilon resistor there, plus a spaceport, but I'm not seeing any drones around. Still, they're shooting at me. Kind of need to escape that fire. I was kind of hoping for some drones, people. Kind of hoping for some drones to shoot at. Let's see if we can find some. Now, you know how I was saying before about the ship just kind of falling out of the sky? One thing I've noticed is I'm really struggling at the moment to maintain speed. So if I hold forward down, I get forward going up. As soon as I sort of try and maneuver in any way, it just seems to bottom out. And as you can see right now, I am struggling to keep altitude. And then the speed is sort of just hanging around at 30 meters a second, which is pathetically slow. But if I press and hold W, then it goes up to 48. If I then try and do anything, it seems to just bomb completely down. Look at that. So you see what I mean? I don't know what the flight mechanics are on Reforged yet, but this is quite confusing to fly, I have to say. It might be because it's underpowered, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe because it's thrusters rather than jets. Again, I don't know. I can't use jets. They're too high a CPU, but it's like the pushing of the W key is just not registering, and it's oh, there we go. I don't know. It's really weird. It just seems to lose speed every now and again, and I don't know whether it's because of changing direction or what. It's quite confusing. Oh, what was that? Oh, okay, we got a drone. We got a rocket aerodrone. Okay, well, here we go. It seems to be a hover vessel symbol on the old mini-map there. We're going to need to bring her about, but not drop out of the sky instantly, you know? Here we go. Woo! We're in a dogfight now. We're in a dogfight with a drone. And this isn't the sort of thing that happens in vanilla. In vanilla, you just sort of park it and gat it like a gunship rather than a kind of jet craft. One thing that Reforged encourages you to do, I think, is fly like a plane. So I think if I just stop and hover, I'll try it. I think I'm just going to lose a lot of altitude. Well, I'm actually going up at the moment because I'm stopped right now. I'm using my lift thrust. And there we go. So you can still fly it like a gunship. Rocket aerodrone dead. Reasonably effective. It didn't take a huge amount of time to defeat, I guess, but yeah, we're in the same sort of position again where we're losing altitude. I need to speed up, but I mean, speed is only 36. Come on. I'm just like, at this rate, I am going to just drop it in the drink, and that'll be the end of that. We're entering Polaris territory now, so I don't expect a drone to be around here. Let's see if we can find another one. Have another go with this. Looks like we've got another drone down here. A couple of HV icons down there. Yeah, I see one. See one of them. Seems like we've got a good... If we've got quite a bit of altitude here, I'm able to maintain this speed reasonably well. I can even turn and stuff on it, but as soon as I try and maneuver with Q and E and stuff, that seems to be what drops the old altitude. At the moment, I'm quite happy just hovering here. You can see my altitude is a steady 414. I'm not sure what my range is on my GATs. 2,500. No, that's the 197 meters. So I do need to go down and get these guys. But I'm afraid if we go down like this, above them, which is typical sort of Empyrion meta, just come in above. They can't shoot up, these drones, so can I actually maintain altitude? So there you go. It's actually quite a proficient drone hunter. Once you get used to kind of flying it, I guess, the mechanics are so different now, I don't even know how to fly anymore. So normally I wouldn't do this. I'd very much opt to fly a bit like a plane anyway, because it's generally more fun that way. But if I'm going to be doing that and losing altitude and potentially dropping into the drink, unable to maintain speeds more than 30 meters a second at the moment because of some reason, I don't know why it won't pick up. We're holding space at the moment now in order to stop the ship from falling in the water, and it's not happening. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm at a loss. I mean, but again, perhaps if Vermillion is watching this, he can explain in the comments what on earth is going on and why I can hover quite happily at one moment, you know, with the ship's weight, clearly sufficient lifting thrust there, and then at the other moment it's falling into the drink as if it's like the lifting thrust is just switched off. Maybe that's exactly what it's doing. Maybe at a certain speed, like, I don't know, maybe the down thrusters are turning off for all intents and purposes. Like now we're over 30 meters a second, and I wonder if it's those lift thrusters just become ineffective at a certain speed. I wonder if that's what he's done. Honestly, I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna perhaps increase the forward thrust. Yeah, because that is, and then we stop, and then suddenly it lifts. I think that's pretty much what he's done, is that forward momentum turns off your lifting thrusters and relies wholly on the wings. The problem with that is, what about planets with no atmosphere? And then the lift doesn't work, and then you're flying forward and your lift thrusters just go, yeah, it doesn't work anymore. It just falls out of the sky. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if that's what it is. That's what it seems like. Let's head back to creative mode. I've got a few adjustments to make. So I actually moved one of these thrusters over there without moving the other one, the equivalent, into the same place. So that might improve our roll a little bit. The other thing I want to do is increase the forward thrust. So let's maybe add an extra thruster in here underneath this this wing bit. A bit like that. And see if that helps us any or not. I don't know. Shall see. Well, it works in our creative mode. We have weights and volumes. We've tested the combat, so we should be able to now just sort of fly around. And we've got a lot more speed now, that's for sure. And I'm just testing at this speed whether it falls out of the sky, and it does. Yeah, it absolutely does. It just falls out of the sky. Why? Why does it fall out of the sky? I've got a lot to learn about building, I think, in Reforged. It's the rules are just so different. The fundamentals, like flying, are completely different. I've got to pitch up constantly, and I suppose I shouldn't have to at 70. It should hold its own height at 70 meters a second. It shouldn't be falling out of the sky like that. If it's using lift, the lift of the wings. Yeah, do I need bigger wings? That seems crazy. This isn't a very heavy ship. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can help me. Maybe in the comments, like, what is going on? What is wrong with my ship here in Reforged? If you're used to building in Reforged, please help me. Yeah, I need help. This isn't working. I'm even pointing the ship up, and it's still losing altitude at full speed. Yeah. Is it the tight turns? Can I not take the tight turns anymore? Have I got to be a little bit more lethargic about it? A little bit more kind of casual? Like flying a 747, you know, take about 3 hours to turn around. And then it might stay up. Come on. Up you go. There you go. You're up. Okay, now stop falling out of the sky. Stop it! That's just gonna go into the drink. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a curious one. I tell you, I'm interested to continue building and trying to figure this out, because Vermillion has changed the rules so much that I'm determined to build an SV that flies like a nightshade. You know, this is going to crash into the side of that building now. Yep. I nearly made it onto the pad. Not quite. And this is it. You know, you stop and it's fine. You can use the lift thrusters. Oh dear. It's so confusing. It's so confusing. You have to unlearn all that you have learned with Empyrion and just start from scratch. It's so strange. But But yeah, I'm gonna persevere and see if I can build a SV that flies like a nightshade in Reforged. Please do help me down in the comments if you are used to building in Reforged and you know what the issue is with this thing and what is going on. Please let me know in the comments. I appreciate your help. If you're as confused as I am watching this video, and also I want to hear from you in the comments down below. Let me know. And like I said, you can pick up the Reforged creative scenario on the workshop along with Reforged Galaxy or Reforged Eden. I do highly recommend Reforged Eden. You are combining Raven's excellent work with Project Eden with Vermillion's, let's say, interesting work with Reforged. Vermillion has done an amazing job with Reforged. He's put so much work into it. But yes, learning how he's changed things and what is in his brain and why he's done it is the difficult part, but it is going to be an interesting challenge going forward, I think. So yeah, let me know what you think. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this kind of weird semi-buildy kind of episode, not tutorial. I don't even know what to call it. It's just messing around in Reforged Galaxy. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.